What's up? Good afternoon, everybody. It is Hump Day here at Winners and Whiners. I'm your host of this little shizoo that we do. This is Back to the This is not Back to the Window. This is Just Parlays with Chris King. I'm your host, Scott Steehn. I am the lead handicapper at winnersandwhiners.com. This young fella in the Bills cap is Chris King.
If I'm young, what's Rachel? Like infantile?
He's a baby. He's a baby. That's what he is, man. So how are you there, my friend? You good?
Yeah, not too bad. Another warm day down here in the Bible Belt, as people like to call it.
You're in South Carolina, right?
You are correct.
But you are in the part of South Carolina that's not close to the beach.
This is also correct.
That makes absolutely no sense to me. If you're going to live in South Carolina, I better be seeing ocean.
Yeah, but the problem is if you go over there, then you got to deal with all the tourists.
Yeah, it does. It does get a little chippy there in the summertime, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Especially when you have the conflicting bike weeks and everything else.
Can you shag, Chris? I know that's the dance of the Carolinas in the summer, right?
I was unaware of that, so I'm going to say no.
Okay, all right, good chat. So, not the greatest day on the free side yesterday, but your premium subs did okay, right, buddy?
Well, I mean, I can't complain too much. We did have at least one two-teamer from the show that hit yesterday. So Colorado won. Got to give credit to Binnington. You talked about how he was going to have to stand on his head, kind of like Ottinger did in the Dallas-Calgary series. He made, 52 saves, 51 saves, something like that?
It was a ton. And
I know the shots were like 6,000 to 3 for a while.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I know somebody asked about that game, and I can't remember if it was this show or the next show that I do with Scott. I loved the Binnington save over. I believe it was 30.
Yeah, you said that because we looked it up and found out it was 30 and a half. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he made 51.
Yeah, that's a
shots ended up 54-25.
Just brutal, just absolutely brutal. And that St. Louis defense has to get better. And they took them to overtime, man.
But yep, they did. They played well. I mean, Colorado didn't play as well offensively as I thought they would. But then again, how often are you going to see Nathan McKinnon take 8 shots and not find the back of the net, too?
Also true. Ryan Page checking in with some good news. How about this, Chris? He had a winning night last night. Had the Heat, the Lightning. Ooh, the Heat Lightning, one of my favorite things. Had the Heat, the Lightning, and the Marlins. That's a 3-teamer to you and me, and that's $1,000 for Mr. Ryan Page. Congratulations!
Yeah, those were the 3 teams we talked about on the show yesterday. Because we said to take the Marlins because Washington was throwing A down with a 7 ERA.
Right.
We talked about the Heat even before, and at that point we didn't know that Smart and Horford were both going to be out. And Tampa Bay took care of business. Florida again showed an inability to put the puck in the net.
Yep.
When it mattered, especially on the power play. They're still looking for a power play goal.
You and I touched on both of those things yesterday, their lack of ability to cash in on the power play and the periods of time over the game where they just kind of seem to go in the deep freeze as far as scoring goes. It's such a great, it was like watching the Chiefs in the second half of the AFC Championship game. You've got all these weapons and all these tools, and you're doing nothing with them. And so,
yeah, and by the same token, not only did Florida go 0 for 3 on the power play, they let Tampa Bay go 3 for 6.
Yeah, you can't do that, man. Hard to believe Tampa was plus money. Yep.
And heavily plus money too. They were going up plus 140.
I'll tell you what, I hit everything in sight on the NHL yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah, the sports that I follow, like baseball and basketball, that I really spend time in. Yeah, it's all right. We broke even with 3-3. My hockey plays that we talked about on the show, everything I said came right. Tampa Bay won. Colorado won, but they didn't cover the puck line as I predicted. Binnington stood on his head, went over the goal total. Yeah. So apparently I'm spending way too much time learning about these other sports. I should just be a casual fan like I am with hockey and go, well, that looks good. So anyway.
Do you see the big news that they're talking about today in baseball? Will the Washington Nationals trade Juan Soto?
Well, it always comes down to midseason trades when you've got talent on your team, always comes down to how you project for the next 2 or 3 years. So if they've got a pipeline in the minors, if they think they're a couple players away, then obviously it's a different answer than if they're going to break it all down and tear it down and start over. What do you think, Chris?
If I'm Washington, I mean, if you're trading Soto, it's because you're afraid that you can't sign him. And you know who his agent is. It's Jim's buddy there, Scott Boras.
God, does he represent everybody in the majors now that it's worth a damn?
Pretty much. I mean, I get the fact that you look at Soto's numbers are down right now. He's only hitting 254, but he's got 8 homers. Of course, Washington can't get anybody on base in front of him because he's driven in himself 8 times and he's driven in somebody else 3.
Yep. That's brutal. That's brutal.
Yeah. So
8 home runs and 11 RBIs.
Yeah. But I mean, he's not a free agent until after 2024. So I mean, if you're dealing him away with 2.5 years basically of controlled,
of team control with him. Absolutely true. And Ryan Page says Soto should be untouchable. I agree, unless you don't think you're going to be good in the next 2 years. If you're not, you can cash out. I'm going to say quite maximum value for him, but you can get a ton for Soto right now, even though he's having a quote unquote down year, because you've got that 2.5 years left of team control. So yeah, Ryan, in a perfect world, I agree. Soto should be untouchable, but this is the world of economics that we live in. And if that money is better spent retooling and getting yourself ready for 2025, then you got to let him go.
And it says front office types point to 2 teams that would be motivated to move on him. You got any idea who those 2 teams are, Scott? Here's a hint. One's not the Royals.
I was going to say the Yankees and the Dodgers.
No, actually, no. You're right divisions, wrong teams.
Right divisions, wrong teams. Okay, who needs an outfielder? Okay, let's go with the Padres.
You are correct.
And we'll go with would the Red Sox be stupid enough to do that? Let's go with Toronto.
You are correct again, because they say the Blue Jays or the Padres could dangle C.J. Abrams and Mackenzie Gore, who's done all right in his major league rookie season, and the Blue Jays could use Soto as a lefty to complement Vlad Guerrero from the other side of the plate.
Yeah, that's very true.
But the question is, does anybody want to give up? God, I mean, you'd have to ask a king's ransom if you're Mike Rizzo, don't you?
Yes, you do. Yes, you've got to get a ton. You got to get a ton back. Ryan Page says the stadium's already empty. They're going to have to start paying people to go to the game if Soto is gone. Yeah, that's the bad part about that, is you're pretty much writing off the next 2 years, both competitive wise and attendance wise.
And I mean, the thing is, Soto's only 23. I mean, it's not like he's Bryce Harper.
I know, it's insanity. I get it, man. I totally get it. 15 years ago, we wouldn't even think about having this conversation. But Unknown Entity says, as I stumble in Colorado Avenue, left a scar, guys. Oh, I'm thinking is that the Avs?
Yeah, I'm guessing so.
Is that from is it the Terror of Colorado Boulevard? Oh no, that's Boulevard. That's the little lady from Pasadena.
Colorado Avenue. It's right down there by Electric Avenue. I'm
gonna rock down to that. I swear to God.
Is in Blaisdell, which is right outside of Buffalo. There's an Electric Avenue, and there's always places that are always playing that song by Eddie Grant.
I was gonna say, is that the one Eddie Grant was singing about? You think
it could be? You never know.
Okay. Unknown Entity is in the house. Super Sly is here as well. Unknown Entity, did you have the Avs on the puck line, perhaps, or in reg?
And Bronco Devil said he saw the headline that the Soto trade will upset all 3 Nats fans. Jim and 2 others.
Bronco Devil's a funny fucker. I want to know if he's that funny in real life, because he writes some funny quips.
And Unknown said St. Louis beat Colorado's ass. Well, that goes back to the Rocky 2 quote, where Duke's talking to Apollo Creed, and he says, "Saw you beat that man like no man had ever been beaten before, and the man kept coming after you."
Unknown Entity had the puck line. Yep, I was worried about that, and it was something I was gonna look up. I wanted to see Colorado's record in 1-goal games.
Hold on, I can probably get that out here. Let's see.
All right, can you get it up, Chris?
Always.
Hey,
get a blue pill.
Hey, while we're talking here, guys, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. to both of our channels on the YouTube, Winners and Whiners YouTube channel and the Max Wagers Network YouTube channel as well. If you're out and about and you can't watch us, don't forget we're available in podcast form, or we will be very soon.
Yeah, Jim says he's working on it. Whatever that means.
Chris says, I think he missed it. What about the NBA game tonight? Oh, Chris must be new. Yeah, this is the 10 minutes of bullshit up front, Chris. We haven't got to any games yet. So you're fine, buddy. You came running in, you're all out of breath, and there's no reason for it. You didn't have to hurry. So yeah, we waited for you. We waited for you. Timmy Earl in the house. What up, Timmy? My wife laughs at my jokes. Sure she does, Bronco Devil. Sure she does.
Well, at least he's got somebody doing it. I mean,
My wife laughs at my jokes, and then she has a look on her face like she questions her life choices of the last 30 years. So,
well, I mean, there's always that. 1-goal games. Let's see. Surprisingly, the Avalanche only had – that can't be right. This says that they had 11 1-goal games according to Hockey Reference this season, which makes no sense whatsoever. And they were 8-3.
Is that in the playoffs?
Well, no, because they won 3 of their games in blowouts, but no, that says that they were 8-3, and that's got to be a typo. I can't imagine they only had.
I don't believe that's
1-goal games.
Don't believe that's accurate, sir. Hey,
I don't either.
Speaking of Tim Earl, you can check out Tim and all the other great content at the Max Wagers Network. Starting off at noon, Midday Money, Mr. Sean Higgs, followed up by Ms. Allie Burns at 1 o'clock, bringing you Morning Wood. Me and Chris right here at 2 every day. I'll slide over to my other studio for 3 o'clock with my pal Scott Reichel. 4 p.m. brings us around the world in the world of soccer with Sean Miller and, of course, the aforementioned Tim Earl and his much more handsome brother, Nick. I'm kidding. They look the same. They do it with Detroit Lenny at 5 o'clock, making their game.
Gotta lose your mind with Detroit Rock Lenny.
Gotta lose your mind. And Kiss was in North Carolina yesterday, I guess.
Were they?
Yeah. My God, let it go, boys. We talked about this before. I'm not a Kiss guy.
Right. You're not a fan of Wicked Lester. We know.
All flash, not enough substance. So, what else? Caesars. How about Caesars?
How about Caesars?
You need some Caesars in your life?
Always. And Ninth Wonder said a nice theme song in this show would be good for us, like BTO's Taking Care of Business.
Man, Scott and I used to do radio out of Tampa. When we first started doing this show, it was a radio show. And they swore they paid all the ASCAP fees. So we used whatever music we wanted to. It was the most wonderful thing. I don't really believe they were paying those fees. They're a really small station, so maybe they were. They're like, yeah, you could use whatever. So we used to open with Fortunate Son by John Fogerty.
Yeah,
and we played like we did drops with music and stuff. And now you're on YouTube. You can't use anything. You can't use not a whiff of something. Sometimes I worry, like you and I will say lyrics or a song or something. I worry we'll get dinged for that. So yeah, I'd love to use. Where do you put BTO in the pantheon of Canadian rock bands?
I mean, I like him. I like Randy Bachman. Even as a solo guy, his kid sucks, but
I hate that song so much. I always forget who that is, and then I look and I go, "Oh, he must be so disappointed."
I would be.
That was, man, Not Fragile. That's just a banger from beginning to end. Showing my age, Chris. Showing my age. But speaking of Caesars, bring it back, baby. Bring it back.
Way to find somebody older than you.
What's that?
Way to find somebody older than you, Caesars.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Caesar even has me by a couple years. Caesars Sportsbook is doing a great thing for you guys that have a lock. If you've got a lock, a game you are sure of, this is the opportunity for you. If you are a new subscriber, a new customer of Caesars, for your first bet only, you can get a risk-free wager up to $1,100. Whatever it is, you bet on it, you win your money, you lose it, Caesars will make you whole up to $1,100. It is truly a risk-free proposition with bet insurance included. Like I said, it's only good for first-time depositors, first-time bettors on the Caesars Sports app. It's available only in states where Caesars is. Let's not overthink it. And, of course, you must be 21 to play unless you're in the states of New Hampshire or Wyoming, where you only have to be 7. I still think that needs to be changed, but you must be 8.
Yeah, like Tampa Bay yesterday would have been a good pick to throw the whole
yes.
whole there.
Well, Reichel had a $650 free bet the other day. Put it on the Dallas Mavericks money line.
Yeah, I think I think that game was rigged. That's why Reichel put all that money down, because he wouldn't have bet on Dallas otherwise.
Bachman was in the Guess Who. He absolutely was. Did I ever tell you I got in a fight with the drummer of the Guess Who?
No, you didn't.
I was opening for the Guess Who in Hays, Kansas. Okay, so it was a great gig for both of us.
There had to be at least 12 people there,
and it was packed. It was it seated like 200 people. So I mean, it was packed. There was people there to see the Guess Who. But the drummer.
I thought you were going to say they were there to see you, and the Guess Who were just on the card.
Yeah, that ain't the way that worked out. But the drummer gave me shit about something, and I fucking snapped back on him and go, well, finally, the name of your band makes sense, because you look at everybody in there but you, and you go, guess who that is? Because it ain't the guy that was in there originally. And we have fucking had to be separated. Now, fuck him. I could have taken him. He was like 80. Yeah, suffice it to say, Randy Bachman wasn't there. Burton Cummings wasn't there. It was, and I think he was like even the second drummer. He wasn't the original drummer. He was like the drummer after the guy that made all the hits after he left. This dude started.
Bronco Dill said Alan somebody.
Fuck him. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so that's
as long as it wasn't Alan Parsons.
That's my brush with greatness. Oh man, I get in fights with so many bad people. I get in a fight with Frank Caliendo.
You got enough to do with Frank Caliendo?
Punch Frank Caliendo. Yeah, I did. Anyway, long and horrible story. Let's get to it, buddy. What do we got cooked up?
You punched Frank Caliendo. What the hell's up with that?
No, fuck, he had it coming. He's a dick.
Let's see. The drummer. What year was it that this happened?
Oh, fuck. 90, 91, somewhere around there.
Well, then that would have been Gary Peterson.
Okay.
And he was the actual original drummer who came back.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go.
He was with them from 62 to 75, and then in 83, and then he came back in 87 to the present.
That would explain why he was so goddamn old. Alan says, Chris, please need your advice. Have a 10-team parlay. Just need the Mavericks +5 to hit. Should I hedge out of it half the money? Take the Warriors money line? Yes. Well, I don't know. It depends on your personal feelings about hedging. If I've hit 9 of my first 10 legs, first of all, are you on a book that's offering you a cash out? Yeah,
because if you're on a book where you can cash out, I mean, that might not be a bad idea, because you don't know how Dallas is going to play. I know we talked a lot about how Dallas has been good defensively in the playoffs, but if you look, most of their numbers about being good in the playoffs defensively are at home. They're 12th in defensive efficiency on the road in the playoffs this season.
Yeah, they had exactly one good road game.
Yeah, and that was the game where Utah shot like 3 of 72 from 3-point range.
Jim wants to know if we're going to talk sports or horse shit around. I don't know.
6 of one, half dozen of the other.
No, it is time to get rolling.
Alan says he's at William Hill in Wendover, Nevada. Do they give you the option to cash out at William Hill?
It's all about your personal. It's all about your personal risk and what you're comfortable with, man. If that's a really nice hit, if you can hedge out and pick up a few bucks, if you're happy with that, cool. If you want to go for the home run and you can't get a cash out, then hell, let her ride.
Yeah, it's really a tough call, because I mean, you don't know what to expect from Dallas here either.
No, you don't. I mean, everybody dreams about hitting the first 9 legs of a 10-leg parlay. So
yeah,
you're in an enviable spot, especially if you can get a cash out. It's all about what does that money mean to you, man? Does it mean a vacation this summer, or is it just a nice pickup for your bankroll? I mean, there's so many factors I can't really say. All right, let's talk about some games, buddy.
All right. We will start on the diamond with the New York Mets and St. Louis Cardinals. Scott, we talked about this game on Total Chaos yesterday.
Yep.
We talked about Jordan Hicks and his still steep learning curve when it comes to trying to be a starting pitcher at the big league level after being a closer for the last couple of years in St. Louis. He's 1-3 with a .415 earned run average.
And I will say this. I want to make sure that you point this out. The 4.15 ERA encompasses all of his appearances this year, which includes, I think, 2 out of the bullpen, 2 or 3 out of the bullpen, and along with his 5 starts. So his starter, I believe his starter ERA is about a run higher.
I will take a quick look at that.
See what that looks
and
like.
Bronco said that he wanted to meet you until he found out that instead of shaking hands, you punch people in the mouth.
Just famous people, buddy. You're fine.
Hey, for all you know, he is famous.
Semi-famous people, not even like it's like E-list celebrity sort of.
All right, starting pitcher. Let's see. He is 0-3 with a 5.09 ERA.
There you go.
As a reliever, he has an ERA of nothing.
Okay, so that explains the disparity. That's what I just wanted to make sure that, because I know one of the things we talked about was the difference between him in the bullpen and him starting. So
right, and plus he's going against Scherzer, and we know how well Scherzer is pitched.
The pride of University of Missouri Columbia, buddy, Max Scherzer. You betcha.
Well, yeah, there's that. And he's from, I believe, the St. Louis area, isn't he?
He is indeed.
Cardinals 11th in the major runs per game. They're 18th in runs on the road. The Mets are 15-2 in their last 17 after losing a game. Of course, they lost the nightcap of that doubleheader yesterday after winning the opener. They're 10-2 in their last 12 at home against a right-handed starter. They're 4-1 in the third game of their last 5 series. St. Louis 2-6 in their last 8 against right-handed starting pitching, and they're 1-4 in their last 5 against the National League East.
Don't care.
That's great.
I hate that stat. What does that tell me? What am I? Is it the Marlins? Is it the Mets?
Well, if you're losing to the Marlins, that's even worse.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but that doesn't tell me that. All those games could have come against the Mets and the Phillies. So I don't know. I like the other ones.
I don't know if I would factor in the Phillies as being relevant at this point. I mean, they're behind the Marlins in the standings, aren't they?
I think the big thing that I'm looking at here is the fact the Mets mash right-handers, especially at home, and the Cardinals have struggled against right-handers, at least lately. We talked about this game yesterday, like you said, on Total Chaos. We talked about it from a total angle, but when I was handicapping this game, I love the Mets in this spot.
And I'm sure Tim Earl loves the Mets in this spot.
Big Mets fan. Big Mets fan.
But yeah, to your point, the Cardinals hitting .235 against right-handed pitching compared to .275 against lefties.
There you go.
So last I checked, Scherzer's still pitching right-handed.
Still pitching right-handed. All right, what else we got?
All right, well, Bronco says his parlay today is Buehler, Cole, and Scherzer. Buehler going against the Diamondbacks, Cole going against the Orioles, and Scherzer the aforementioned game against St. Louis.
All those guys going to be in the Hall of Fame, Chris?
I don't know about Buehler. I mean, he's still got a long way to go.
Okay.
Cole could be. I think Scherzer pretty much is a lock at this point, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I think Cole's 75%, 70%, somewhere around there, depending on what he does with the rest of his career. And I think Buehler, like you said, it's early, 50-50.
And now we got the Blue Jays and the Mariners, another game we talked about from a total perspective.
Yep.
Of course, we tried Logan Gilbert yesterday, and of course, the Mariners didn't score any runs for him. You get the bases loaded with 1 out, and what do? They bounce into a double play.
Well, it's better than the Royals. Bases loaded.
This is true.
Bases loaded, nobody out. Strikeout, swing at ball 4, pop up. That's going to be a long fucking summer, buddy.
Marco Gonzalez, 1-4 with a 3.38 ERA, a 1.531 WHIP, 13 walks and 22 strikeouts. That ERA is a bit misleading, though, because he's been the beneficiary of some very good luck. I don't know if you've seen his actual numbers, Scott, but his FIP going into this game, 627.
Yeah, he's given up a shit ton of home runs, and he's given up 12 unearned runs. So we've talked about the earned run, unearned run thing before. It's sometimes misleading, as you can have an error, walk the bases full, and then a grand slam. All those runs are unearned, but make no mistake, you still sucked. Whether the shortstop threw it over somebody's head or not for out number 3, that's still those runs should still be on you, buddy. I'm sorry.
And his walk rate is up too, because in 2020, the shortened season, he had a walk rate of 0.9 per 9 innings, and now it's 3.7. Meanwhile, his strikeouts have dropped from 8.3 per nine to 6.2. So
not good. Not good.
Yeah, not good at all. And Kevin Gossman on the other side, 3-2, a 2.40 ERA, and a WHIP of 9.78. Look at that, 2 walks and 54 strikeouts.
Yeah, he has been outstanding. He has been everything they hoped for and more coming over from the Giants, no question.
Now, let me ask you this, because these two teams intertwined. The Blue Jays got Gausman because Robbie Ray went to Seattle.
Right.
If you're sitting as a manager or a general manager of a team, would you rather have Ray or Gausman?
Rather have Gausman.
Okay.
I think so. I think, Robbie Ray being able to find his control for one season, I worry about his body of work, where he has always been a high strikeout, high walk kind of guy.
That's true.
So, I think Gausman was on more of a trajectory to hit this level where he was just constantly getting better. So, yeah, I would rather have Gausman at this point. Plus, I'm going to guess Gausman's 5 years younger.
Ray is 30. He'll be 31 in October.
Gausman, I'm going to guess 26.
Gausman is, let's see. Gausman is 31.
Wow. No, I did not realize he spent more years in Atlanta than I remembered.
No, he spent more years in Baltimore.
Really?
Started his career in Baltimore in 2013, stayed there until 2018 when he got traded to the Braves.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he was not on my radar at all.
Well, why would he be? Baltimore sucked.
Well, good point. Well, were they? No, one of those years they went to the playoffs because the Royals beat them.
Was that the wild card game?
Yeah. No, that was the first series after the wild card game. They beat them in 14.
Oh, okay.
Swept them because they Kansas City swept their way into the World Series.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I see. Baltimore in 2014. Yeah, Gausman pitched in one game in relief in the ALDS against the Tigers, and then he pitched twice in relief against the Royals.
Okay. All right.
So, yep.
Very good. So we're on the Blue Jays here, bud.
Yeah.
Mariners, picking out the important stat there for me, Mariners 4-13. Last 17 is a road underdog. Don't play well on the road. And they don't play well.
The Blue Jays are good against left-handed pitching.
Yep. And they don't play well when they're supposed to play bad. So when they're supposed to play bad, they play bad. That's pretty much how that works. So Blue Jays obviously doing very well home games against teams with losing records. Of course, you got to remember a lot of those are going to be Baltimore. But
this is true.
And I know you love this one. Blue Jays are 13-4 in the last 17 against the American League West.
Yeah, and those weren't all against Oakland either.
No, well, some of them might have been last year when Oakland was decent.
And they played Texas.
How do you feel about the run line there, bud?
I like it actually. I think that Gausman should keep Seattle in check, limit them to 1 or 2 runs, and I think after seeing Gonzalez's FIP and like you said, they've given up a crap load of unearned runs. It'll be easy for Toronto to put up enough runs to cover the run line.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, Bronco, I do all the stats. I dig up all this stuff every morning before we do the show. Takes up my morning, so
I make myself breakfast.
I'm surprised you cook.
Dude, I cook. What are you eating? You're surprised a fat man can cook? Really?
I figured you just ordered takeout.
No. I like to cook, man.
I figured you go to a Chinese buffet for brunch.
You go home now. Hey, got any basketball?
We have hockey first.
Oh, got any more of that? Basketball picks, man? Hey, how about some hockey?
Yeah, how about the Hurricanes and the Rangers? Both those teams won Game 7s over the weekend to get here. Carolina knocked out Boston. The Rangers came back from 3-1 down to beat the Penguins. The problem for the Rangers, this game's not at Madison Square Garden, where they played a lot better than they did on the road in the opening round. And the Hurricanes were 4-0 against Boston in the first round at home. We're talking about the fact here the Hurricanes won 3 of the 4 games in the regular season. Igor Shesterkin, sure, he's 4-2 in the playoffs, but his goals against .366 and a .910 save percentage. Antti Ranta still starting for Carolina because nobody knows if Frederik Andersen's going to come back. And, maybe this is what Frederik Andersen deserved. He struggled in the playoffs when he was in Toronto. He struggled in the playoffs in Anaheim. Now it's time for the playoffs. Carolina wins, and he's hurt.
Sure he is.
Ronta 3-2 with a 237 goals against a 927 save percentage in the playoffs. The Rangers third in goals for in the playoffs, but they're 15th in goals against. 29 goals in the first round. Carolina tied for fifth in goals for, sixth in goals against. They're 5-0 in their last 5 games in the second round or the conference semifinals. They're 5-0 against the Metropolitan Division, which comes in handy since, that's where the Rangers are from. They're 10-3 in their last 13 overall. They're 25-8 in their last 33 games as a playoffs as a favorite. The Rangers 15-36 in their last 51 playoff games as an underdog. I know Shesterkin's a Vezina finalist. He played well in the regular season. He struggled against Pittsburgh. He wasn't great against Carolina in the regular season. I'm looking for the Hurricanes to prevail on home ice at the PNC Arena tonight. Anything to add, Scott?
You sound like you're promoting that game. We'll see you at the PNC Arena tonight, brother.
Well, or you could be like Billy Red Lions used to be on Maple Leaf Wrestling. He's like, don't you dare miss it.
Maple Leaf Wrestling, is that like, I'm assuming the Canadian?
Yeah, that was like it was the syndicated WWF stuff that they used to show on Channel 11 out of Toronto.
Let's get ready to rumble there, eh?
Well, that was the good part about living in Western New York. You got all the Canadian channels, so you could watch Hockey Night in Canada on CBC, or you could watch the Blue Jays on Channel 9, or you could watch wrestling on 11, or you could watch. I used to watch the Leafs on Global, which was Channel 6.
Okay, all right. Thanks for that.
I said we had the AWA. Remember the AWA, Scott?
No.
Of course you don't.
No, because again, I was doing shit. I was learning
to
cook.
Hear about your dates with Rosie Palmer, all right? It's a family show.
I like the over here.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you look in recent meetings, not just between these teams, but in the playoffs, the Rangers went over, I think, in every game in the opening round. And Carolina, I think, is 8-1-1 in their last 10, dating back to the end of the regular season. When it comes to the over, so I mean, they've got it at 5.5. I think a couple of books have it at 6. So I mean, you can go either way. If you want to pay the little extra juice for 5.5, you can at plus or at 6. Well, okay. Earlier at 6 was going at plus 100. It looks like everybody's knocked it back down to 5.5.
Yeah, I've got 5.5 minus 112, which that's a fine price right here. I'll tell you what I would be perhaps even more interested in at plus money is taking Carolina over 3.5 at plus 135.
Yeah, that's a safe bet too. I don't
think this way. I don't think it goes over if Carolina doesn't get to 4 goals.
Yeah.
So,
but it looks Carolina's 8-1-1 to the over in their last 10. The Rangers are 9-1.
There you go.
To the over in their last 10.
Sounds like a trend, brother. Sounds like a trend.
It does. I mean, Carolina, the Rangers haven't had a game with less than 7 goals in the playoffs.
Hey, you got anything on the Oilers Flames?
Yes. What about the Oilers Flames?
Let's see it.
All right.
There you go.
Look, it's the Flames and the Oilers. These teams split 4 meetings in the regular season. The Flames outscored the Oilers 17-16. The home team won all 4 games in the regular season, which is something to watch out for here. Mike Smith, we're talking about.
All we do is roast him, and all he does is produce, sort of.
Yeah, he's got a good save percentage, 938, 2 shutouts. He's 4-2-1 in the postseason.
229, nothing wrong with that.
Nope, but Markstrom, a 153 goals against.
Yeah.
First round against Dallas. Oilers scored a lot in the first round, but a lot of that was based on they had a couple of big games. Game 2 when they won 5 or 6-0, and then they had another couple of big games. Flames didn't score much, but they don't give much up. First in goals against, they only give 14 goals in 7 games in the opening round. Flames 6-1 in their last 7 as a home favorite, 6-1 in their last 7 against Pacific Division teams, 16-6 in their last 22 when their opponent scores 2 or less because, of course, the Oilers coming off a 2-0 win. Oilers 2-5 in their last 7 as an underdog, 2-6 in their last 8 as a road underdog, 1-4 in their last 5 games in the second round of the playoffs, and they don't like going to Cowtown, Scott. 1-4 in the last 5 matchups in Calgary. I'm going to have to lean towards the Flames playing at home in the Battle of Alberta, Chapter 1.
See, that's my problem. Is you're leaning towards the Flames, but you're laying 160. I can't do that. I can't. And
you don't watch hockey anyway.
This is one of those things where if you say, well, I think the Oilers have a good price on it, plus 144. You say, you know what, just for value, I'm going to back the Oilers. And then the Flames win. You get people come on and roast you. Say, see, I told you the Flames are going to win. It's not how value works. If you think,
I'm just worried about the Oilers because Draisaitl was kind of dragging because he's dealing with that an injury that he suffered late in the series with the Kings. He didn't look right in Game 7,
right?
And the Flames are going to smack McDavid every chance they get.
I get it. They're at home. Edmonton's been been terrible on the road. This has been a home series. I get all the reasons. I see all 17 of them right here in front of me. I'm just saying at that price, I'm probably going to take a pass on the Flames.
Well, that's all well and good.
Sure.
Tim says Calgary's going to win in 5.
Okay.
And now, Scott, we have the NBA.
Okay.
For a precursor, do you have any which way are you leaning in this one?
I have to get recency bias out of my head for this.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Golden State. And Golden State, they laid an absolute egg with the beat down that they put on them. But you know what? They came back and they figured out a way to get it done. This is a veteran team. To me, it really comes down to which Clay are we going to get.
That's true.
We're going to get the last Clay, or are we going to get the earlier Clay? And if Clay is anything even resembling what we saw last time out, I think Dallas is in a world of hurt. So now the question is, can they do that? I've got to play the home team here, buddy. I've got to play the Warriors.
That's the way I was leading as well. I mean, you look, Golden State leads the league in postseason scoring offense. They're third in field goal percentage, and fourth in three-point shooting. Now, Dallas has been good defensively, but like we said, in the first round, they played a Utah team that couldn't hit water falling out of a boat. And then they got past Phoenix because Phoenix, I guess, basically quit. They thought the series was over after Game 5.
Yeah, that's the thing. Golden State got down 3-2, and they came back and put a 27-point beat down and a 33-point beat down on what I consider to be the best team, certainly in the West, if not the NBA, the team that had the best record in the league this year by 5.5 games over second place. They're at full strength. Phoenix wasn't missing anybody, and Golden State just showed them who their daddy was.
Yeah, it was very disappointing to see the way that series ended up when you look at how well things had gone early on. But tonight, I'm just worried, can Doncic get enough help? I mean, he had a great regular season against Golden State. He averaged 31.5 points a game in the 4 games against the Warriors. But can he get the help from Dinwiddie and Brunson and all those guys? And I don't know if those guys are there. I don't know if they're going to be able to contribute.
Right. And let me ask you this. We talk about the small ball matchup, but Mavericks, they're not exactly stout in the middle. When Doncic is your leading rebounder, it's not like you've got a strong inside game. So does that make them a little more equipped than a bigger team? Are they able to go small ball a little easier and compete on a more even footing?
I guess that's possible because they'll roll Finney Smith and I guess he could be a de facto center. Or Dwight Powell will play short minutes or whatever.
Right. We talked about that. Dwight Powell plays, 7 or 8 minutes and then he's done.
Yeah. I mean, you saw though that when Golden State went and played Looney destroyed Memphis on the glass in Game 6.
And that was crazy because Memphis was the best rebounding team in the league this year.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
Looney is like an afterthought.
Yeah. Looney had 22 or so rebounds in that game.
Had 22 rebounds and went nuts.
Yeah, he doesn't score, but you're not putting him out there to score.
No, you got other guys that can score.
Yeah, you put him out there to beat the crap out of people and get some rebounds.
Yeah, exactly right.
And I know that people are going to point out how Golden State has struggled defensively in the playoffs. They're 11th in scoring defense. But you got to remember, the two teams they played are the teams that are ranked second and third in scoring defense or scoring offense in the playoffs. They played the Nuggets and they played Memphis.
Right.
There's a big difference between that and playing, Phoenix, who just fucked around and thought that they were going to get by on their laurels, and like we said, Utah, who couldn't hit anything.
Yeah, that was weird. Those the last two games with Dallas and Phoenix, some crazy shit.
And this is another thing where when we talked about Tampa Bay and Florida yesterday, where experience is a factor. Golden State has been to the finals and the conference finals a whole ton of times. It's the first time Doncic has ever made it out of round one.
Right. Yeah, I gotta think this wasn't a Dallas team that expected to be at this point this year. I mean, do you feel like this is a team that really thought they were going to be able to compete for a championship once they traded Porzingis?
I did not. I'll be perfectly honest. And Hardaway got hurt. He's been out since February.
Mm-hmm.
So you took another proven option out of your rotation. It's given Brunson a chance to step up, but the question is, are those guys going to step up consistently in a 7-game series against a team that's already been here and done that? And that's my biggest concern.
Yeah, I mean, it's the all of a sudden we talked about the decline of the super teams with the big three and whatnot, and now through the back door, here comes the big three that I'm not going to say they started it, but right along with the trio in Miami, kind of defined what the big three is about with Draymond, Clay, and of course Steph Curry.
Well, and don't forget going back to the Celtics with Pierce and Garnett and Ray Allen.
True. Yep. That was that was but none of those guys are coming back. So we get to see kind of the redux version of this. So
that's true.
It should be interesting. And as this series goes on, we'll see if the young legs maybe have an advantage.
That's true.
We'll see if some of the older guys that maybe takes them a little extra time to recover, a little extra time in the tub, that kind of thing. Maybe Dallas, maybe the advantage if Dallas can keep it close the first four. Maybe Dallas actually has a bit of an advantage at the end of this series. We'll see.
And you were talking yesterday about when we were talking about the playoff series in general, how the money would shift and the lines would shift depending on how things went in game one. Now Boston, they were minus 175 or whatever. Now they're plus 120 after losing game one of the series.
Right.
So Are you expecting a similar shift here depending on what shakes out?
Well, I think a lot of that may be driven on the injury uncertainty. I think without the injuries in there, I think that's pretty close to even money. I think it may be plus 100. I think the injuries are taking it up that extra 20 cents would be my guess. I think it's a combination of obviously losing the first game, which isn't ideal, but I think more than that, it's and the Williams injury, it kind of came out of nowhere because he had been hurt, but according to the Boston coach, he was available in the last game, and they just obviously didn't need him.
Right.
So he was healthy and available. So to see him take a step backwards, I think surprised a lot of people.
True. And then Horford going into the COVID protocols,
right,
kind of derailed them there too.
Right. That's a good. That's. And that Horford's who I meant. Sorry, buddy.
That's all right.
Williams played. I know. No, I was talking about Horford, who hadn't been on any list.
Yeah, and it was weird too that Miami didn't utilize Adebayo at all. I mean, he shot the ball 3 times.
Right.
What the hell is this? I mean, you got Vincent shooting the ball 10 or 12 times.
You know who else didn't play for Miami?
Udonis Haslem.
Well, yeah, but Duncan Robinson didn't play.
Oh yeah, that's true. He didn't play either.
No, that's surprising to me.
Yeah, I thought they would try to utilize his perimeter shooting, but
yeah, it shows you what an emphasis on defense this series is going to be about, because his defense is dreadful.
Yeah, it is.
So it's it's like in the NFL, if you're a running back and you can't pass block, you ain't playing much.
Right, you'll be on the bench.
Right. So even if you're in a defensive series, you're a great 3-point shooter, but you can't D. If you're just 3, no D, yeah, you're sitting on the B.
Sitting on your A on the B.
You're sitting on your A on the B. Exactly right. All right, my friend. So we like the Warriors there minus the 4.5. That's kind of started to creep up to in the 5 ranges some spots. So
Yeah, I saw it was anywhere starting to creep up towards 5.5 too. But BetMGM had it at 4.5. So like Scott, like you and Scott always say, shop the lines.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. It makes all the difference in the world. If you can shop lines, if you're a break even handicapper and all of a sudden your state gets legalized gambling or you move somewhere where you can shop lines, you will be a plus money handicapper. It'll make that much difference. No question about it.
And that takes us to the fun part of the show, Scott.
That's right. That's right. Get your pens out.
And look at that. I'm going to ride that again. I'm going to ride the Marlins into the ground because they're playing the Nationals.
Nats are so bad.
Josiah Gray, I guess you can call him the best pitcher on the Nationals rotation.
Sure.
But he's facing Pablo Lopez. And boy, can you make some money off of Pablo Lopez this year?
He's been pretty good, as I understand it.
Yeah, he comes in 4-1. His ERA is 1.05.
Yep.
Whip of 8.14. And it's not all good luck. I mean, his FIP is double that. It's 2.11.
Fine mark.
But I would take it at 2.11 over Gray's 4th and 4.34 or something like that ERA.
Yes, man. Yes, sir.
And the Nationals have been awful. Now, I mean, we've seen Miami win twice in this series already. I think Lopez will shut down the Nationals again. And, if Juan Soto hits a home run, there probably won't be anybody on base. So it won't hurt him. The Yankees, I put up 3 different money lines just so you could see how different it is. At -1.5, it's -150. At -2, it's -120. And at -2.5, it's +110. It's Garrett Cole and Jordan Lyles. Now,
sounds like a mismatch.
Yeah, I mean, you've talked about how, you pissed all over Cole, and since then he's been basically unstoppable.
Yep. Took it
and
first.
Lyles has been, well, not great. 438 ERAs, 2-3. He's given up 45 hits in 39 innings. He's got a whip of 1.513. He's coming off a loss. I think he lost to the Tigers in his last start. He gave up 4 runs on 6 hits, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, and 5 2/3 in a loss at Comerica Park. This is also a guy who took a no decision against the Royals.
There you go.
He started twice against the Yankees this year. First was a no decision, 1 run, 6 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 5 1/3. He took the loss in his most recent start. 6 runs, 7 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, gave up 3 homers, and 4 2/3 in a 12-8 Yankees win.
Yeah, just to reiterate your point, since Cole made that start on the 19th of April, went 1 2/3 and gave up 2 earned runs
and walked 45 guys.
Yeah, since he walked 5, so since we roasted him there, he's had 4 quality starts. He's given up a total of 4 runs in, let's see, 25 and a third innings. He's given up 4 earned runs, and he's been extremely good. He's won all of those starts.
Yeah, walked 5, struck out 34 in that stretch.
Yep. So yes, he's absolutely turned it on. Gave up a home run last time out. Gave up 3 earned over 6 1/3. So you know what? If you're giving up 3 to Baltimore, you're probably going to be in a good position to win. And I doubt he gives up 3.
Yeah. Then we've got the Hurricanes over the Rangers and the Mets over the Cardinals, games we already spoke of.
All right, moving on.
So we'll go to the 4 for the show. Look at that, Scott. Another game we talked about on Total Chaos last night. I'm going to go with Shohei Ohtani and the Angels over the Rangers and Dayton Dunning. Like you said yesterday, every year we hear about how this is going to be the year for Dayton Dunning. Well, this is supposed to be the year for a lot of people. If you remember Seinfeld, this was supposed to be the summer of George.
Summer of George, that's right.
The summer of George. Yeah, I'm sure Dayton Dunning says that every year. Unfortunately, it hasn't panned out. And I know the Rangers, they've won the first couple games of the series. We talked about Syndergaard completely stinking out the joint the other day. Yesterday, they rallied to get the win late. I think Ohtani's going to shut him down. I know you said in his last start against Texas, he completely stifled them. Is that not correct?
That's correct, Edith. He stifled them. I believe he went 7, gave up 2 hits. Is that right?
I'm thinking you're right. I'm going to see if I can
conflating that with another game. I know we ripped through him pretty fast.
Let's see. Last start for Ohtani against the Rangers. Let's see. Because I know he struggled in the first one. He gave 6 and 3 2/3, but his last outing against them, or his last outing was he gave 1 run on 2 hits against Tampa Bay. And before that, he threw 7 shutout frames against Boston.
Okay. All right. That's what I was thinking.
And he bounced back from that shitty start against Texas when he threw 6 innings of 1-hit ball against the Astros and struck out 12.
Okay. All right. Yeah, he had that one bad start, and we rode him that day too. By the way, I remember that, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. And you like the Flames? We talked about that one.
And I'm going to go with the Giants. I mean, you could probably ride the over there too because Kyle Freeland is on the mound for the Rockies.
Good times.
Against Logan Webb. And Logan Webb's pitched well. I mean, let's not take anything away from him. I just think the Giants should sweep the series. I don't have a ton of faith in the Rockies pitching staff. I mean, they've given up, 20-some runs in the last couple games?
Well, I know they gave up 33, 34 to the Royals in 3 games.
They were going to say like 4,000,
It was a ton. They gave up. I lied. They only gave up 20. They gave up 28.
Well, still, I mean,
yeah, not good.
And they've given up 17 to the Giants in the last 2.
Yep. We talked about this a little bit. Quite an over trend out there in Colorado right now, mainly due to the terrible Colorado pitching.
Yeah, 8 straight overs for the Rockies.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they got that going for it. And the Giants have gone over in 8 of their last 10.
Yep.
Which is weird.
Absolutely.
You don't necessarily think about that from the Giants' perspective.
And all the games in this series in San Francisco went over the total earlier this year as well.
Yeah, and I know 11's a lot for an over Bronco, but you look at the first 2 games in the series, like Scott said, we've seen 13 and 17 runs between these 2 teams. When they met in San Francisco last week, you saw 13, 11, and 8, and they all went over because the totals were 6.5, 7.5, and 7.5.
Yeah, I mean, just the Colorado's last 5 at home, 24, 14, 15, 13, 17.
So not good from a perspective.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of 11. Sorry.
And that takes it to
take
Scott
a shot.
Bon Jovi.
Shout in the dark.
I'm going to take the Padres over the Phillies. I know it's Blake Snell's season debut. He's facing Zach Wheeler, and, I can't figure Wheeler out. I mean, he seems to have lost something on his velocity.
Unlike major league hitters, you cannot figure out Zach Wheeler.
Cubs,
yeah.
It's still 11 Bronco at a lot of books. I just looked it up as far as the total. In fact, everywhere it's 11. PointsBet, DraftKings, BetMGM, Caesars, Unibet, Bet Rivers, FanDuel, WinBet, and Bet365 all have the total for the Rockies Giants at 11.
That's a snapback right there.
I'm going to take the Cubs over the Pirates. Right? Yeah, one of the cats is running across the desk and trying to knock stuff over.
Sure, why not?
Basically, I'm going to take the Cubs over the Pirates. The Pirates have scored 1 run in their last 3 games. They haven't scored in 19 plus innings now.
Brutal.
They've gotten in that stretch in the last 3 games. They have 8 hits.
Okay,
that's it.
Cubs, White Sox over the Royals.
Yep, I know that.
Sure.
You were talking about Greinke yesterday. Do you have any faith in him? No. There you go.
No, I'm not sure. Yeah, no, I can't do it. I was going to say something about they might be able to hit Giolito, but this again, I have no confidence in this team. It's a bit of a steep price. I'm going to steer clear, but I'm not involved. I don't want to get involved with the Royals, so sure.
I'm going to lean towards the Reds here as a slight underdog. It's Male versus, I think it's Zach Plesac going for the Guardians.
It is.
I don't have a ton of faith in him.
Okay.
I'm going to look for the Mavs and the Warriors to go over 214. Like we said, Dallas does not play defense as well on the road as they do at home. So I think there's going to be some more points there. I look for Doncic to go over 33.5 because he could score 50 and Dallas could still lose.
Because who else is going to score?
Right, exactly. I look for Curry to go over 3.5 threes. I know he hasn't shot the ball all that well, but, he's taking more than 10.5 threes a game in the playoffs.
Shoot or shoot.
Yep, there you go. I look for the Rangers, and I put both because when I did this, like I said, they had over 6 for the Rangers Hurricanes at plus money. It looks like a lot of the books have dropped it back down to 5.5 at the previously mentioned number. I'm going to look for the Oilers and Flames to stay under 6. I just don't know if Edmonton can score as much as they did against the Kings, and I don't know if Calgary can score at all because I didn't see them do it in the first round. And I'm going to take Evander Kane to have over 3.5 shots. He's had at least 5 shots in 5 of the 7 games in the playoffs. And somebody else is going to have to shoot the puck because they're going to bang on McDavid and Draisaitl all night.
All right, fair enough. There you have it. 10 shots in the dark, mix and match. Use them buffet style. A little of column A, a little column B, whatever you like. Put yourself in a couple parlays together and go make some money tonight. Chris, any final thoughts?
Well, we're getting down to the nitty gritty when it comes to the NBA. I mean, it's going to be weird when we get to the finals and we're like, why are we watching these teams? Where are all the good teams?
That's right.
You don't have chalk in the West, which is weird, but you've got, the top 2 teams in the East.
Yep, absolutely correct. So, yeah, we'll see how that all develops. We saw how the East started out last night. We'll see how the West starts out tonight. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about it, and we'll lay out our favorite Thursday plays. You guys have a great day. Thanks for watching. As always, don't forget to stay tuned as I move right over to my other studio, and we'll be back in about 3 minutes with Scott Reichel as we'll head back to the window. But as far as Chris and I go, we'll be back tomorrow to talk about everything under the sun, but we'll concentrate on
Just Parlays.
There you go. We'll see you guys then.